I'm telling
directly.
you the question is faulty because we don't say that Christ is not all knowing qua divinity. So it's just a faulty
Exactly.
question.
Wait. So Jesus isn't fully known in his divinity.
Yeah, we're saying he's
What?
fully knowing qua divinity, but then the question is proposing, but he isn't. Which within Christology, nowhere does it actually state that.
So the entailment would be that in his divine nature, to an extent, he's ignorant.
What?
No, because I
No.
already
Because you're
told
saying
you.
it, you're saying it's pertaining to his human nature, his qua
I never,
nature.
you like you said, you don't want to talk about the human nature. We're
Yeah,
talking about the
exactly.
divinity.
So can you
Yeah,
address
exactly. So where is
can
the
you
not
address how
P?
something infinite metaphysically regarding his knowledge, right,
Hmm.
can be infinite yet limited at the same time?
What?
Yeah, but we're talking about wrong respect. Okay, in this conversation, we're
Go
talking
ahead.
about wrong respect, which is qua divinity. There's no negation pertaining to the omniscience, which is predicated of the divinity, bro. When did I say that qua divinity, Christ is omniscient and isn't omniscient
No,
qua
but I'm not.
divinity? I
But
never made that
I'm not here to
statement.
talk about the human side, his divine side.
I
Is he
said
fully
qua.
known?
I'm talking about the divinity. I said qua means as divinity. I'm just talking about
Okay,
the
my
divinity.
fault. Go on.
Yeah, and I'm saying that
Go on.
where in my statement did I negate? But qua divinity, Christ isn't all knowing.
Okay, so he's fully known in his divine nature, fully, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So can you prove to me how something infinite can be metaphysically limited? Because obviously he's after creation, right? Post incarnation. My
So
fault.
now you're talking about post incarnation. I thought we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah. When
okay,
he's on
no,
Earth.
post incarnation.
Yeah,
Yeah, post incarnation. Are we still talking about the divinity, or is
yeah,
the
yeah.
humanity going to be?
His divine nature after incarnation.
Yeah, so the divinity was not affected qua, post incarnation.
Wait. Say that again. I didn't hear you.
I said post incarnation, Christ's
Yeah,
divinity was not affected.
wasn't affected.
To stay the same. If you read the Constitutional Creed, it professes this and says that after the incarnation, after Christ gained a human substance, Christ's divinity was not affected in the slightest.
So then, when Jesus was he born with his divine nature when he came out of Mary?
Yeah,
Yes.
what do you mean? That's
Infinitely.
presupposing. Yeah, that's presupposing. Right, what's called the divinity is like localized or has like a spatial location,
So
which is the
When
source.
Mary gave birth to Jesus, Mary gave birth
Yeah,
to Jesus metaphysically, to his infinite knowledge, right?
Bro, this guy
yeah. Again,
woeful.
I'm telling you, the question which you're
Like, oh, is
providing
it or yes
is
or
a.
no?
I'm telling you, the question is false. There's no yes or
But is
no
it yes or
pertaining to the
no?
question. I'm telling
Did
you, the question is
when
false.
Mary pushed out Jesus, did she also push out the infinite
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
knowledge of
saying,
Jesus?
yeah, it's no because the divinity isn't localized.
The
There's no
divine
spatial
nature is omni.
location pertaining to the
Okay,
essence
okay,
qua
so when
divinity.
okay, so it's not. So Jesus didn't push out Jesus's
Again,
full
you're
knowledge.
presupposing. Okay, you're
But you said
presupposing.
no.
Yeah, we're talking about the essence. The essence is spirit in this case, which has no localized particular location which you can
Okay, so
locate
it's
it.
not. So Jesus didn't push out, and no, so Mary didn't push
You're
out his
talking
spirit.
about the humanity, so now you're talking about something which
Yeah,
pertains to his humanity, not his
but
divinity, bro.
his humanity is separate from his divinity, but it's still like
His
they don't split from each
humanity,
other.
No, it's not
his
separate from the
humanity,
divinity.
They're not
his
separate, so they
humanity,
mix.
No.
his humanity. Hold on, hold on. His humanity is not separate of the person
Yeah,
Christ.
so they're both like what's it called? They don't split from each other yet. They're still together, but they don't mix.
That when we
Right? That's the
split from, we
position.
don't believe. We believe that the human nature and the divinity are distinct, but they're not inseparable to the person.
Yeah, exactly. They're not inseparable. So when Jesus was born, he was also
Hmm.
born with the divine nature intrinsic to the human nature, but they didn't mix. So
The
I'm asking
human,
you, G1.
the human, yeah,
Yeah.
the human reality of Christ is concrete, and it's something which we can understand is what's called is encompassed of form and matter. So yeah, Christ when Christ was born, he had a body
He
which
had
was
the divine
composed.
nature. So Mary did
What
push
do you
out the
mean
divine
had the
nature of
divine nature?
Jesus.
Divine nature is united to Christ.
No problem.
Uh,
So when he was a baby, he had the divine nature with him, right?
the divine nature is
Yeah, no
united to him,
problem.
but
So
not in
then,
the sense which you're
but you
proposing.
said
Hold
earlier
on,
that
listen,
Mary
listen, listen to
didn't
me,
push
listen
out
to
his
me,
divine
listen,
nature.
listen. I
Go
want
on.
you to reiterate what I'm saying. Yeah, so the divine nature here is united to the suppositum, but in the way you're
Yeah.
imposing it to be, it isn't the same way as when Mary was given birth to Christ,
Yeah.
but the divinity came out of Mary in this case. No way in Christology does this state this particular conception regarding to Christ's birth. You're imposing something which we don't believe. We believe that the divinity of Christ.
No, but I'm showing you the entailment of this belief, so it doesn't matter if
The
you impose it
divinity
or
of
not. If I
Christ
impose it or
isn't
not.
in space. Hold on.
Go
The
on.
divinity of Christ isn't in space or time. So when you're asking me questions like,
Wait,
oh,
it's not in space and time.
yeah, the divinity of
It is
Christ.
not.
No,
Wait.
it isn't.
Wait. So the what's it called? The hypostasis of Christ, his divine nature. It isn't within space and time.
The divinity of Christ isn't
When
space
Jesus
or time.
post-carnation. Sorry.
Post incarnation, the
Yeah.
essence, the divine essence never enters creation. Like
Never enters
physically, in which
creation.
we're trying to impose, physically, no.
But it's not separable from the human creation. How is that not?
I said it's not inseparable to the suppositum because we understand actions are predicated to suppositums, not natures. And we understand because Christ has one suppositum which subsists in both of the natures qua humanity, we can understand that the humanity of Christ is going to be subject to change, not the divinity.
Yeah,
so when you ask me
I'm
questions referring to change, that's going to be predicated of the humanity, not the divinity, bro.
But I'm not here. Yeah, I'm not here trying to predicate change. You just said to me, this is kind of new to me. This is kind of new to me. So the divine nature of Christ, right, when he was on earth, post-carnation, wasn't in space and time.
The divinity was never in space or time, pre-incarnation or post-incarnation, physically.
So that when Jesus was on earth, despite him having the divine nature and it being inseparable from his human nature, he was ignorant. So then he was ignorant. He was divinely ignorant. Then
no, the divinity is not in, like divinity of Christ is not even united to the humanity of Christ. When I mean humanity, I'm talking about the human nature, right? But the divinity is united to the person. Likewise with the human nature of Christ. The human nature of Christ isn't united to divinity, so I don't know why you keep saying that.
Wait. The human nature of Christ isn't united with the divinity of the divine nature of Christ. Is that what you're saying?
The two natures are not united to each other.
They're not united, but they're not inseparable. How's that not?
Listen, the two natures are not united to each other, but they are united to the person.
Exactly. It's called
when you keep saying the divinity is united to the human nature, that's just false. I don't even believe that. That's just a false premise.
They're not united to the essence. They're united.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I never made that claim. They're not united to the essence. They're united to the person of Jesus being the Son, right?
But then you keep saying human nature. So you're talking about the essence
of the human nature not predicated to the Son as well, unless you believe the Son doesn't have a human nature, which will be heretical, right?
I don't know how. Yeah, when did I make that statement?
Yeah, but that's what you're positing.
Okay, what did I say for you to come to the conclusion?
Because you're assuming that I'm pertaining to the essence, which I never mentioned the word essence actually. I didn't mention the word.
You said, "Oh, isn't the divinity not united to the human nature?" That's what came out of your mouth.
Yeah, the divine nature.
Not united. Yeah, we're talking about the nature. We're talking about the secondary substances. You said, but the secondary substances are united to each other. Then I corrected you. I said no. The secondary substances are united to the first substance, which is one.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Do you understand?
But I always understood the hypostatic union as like, okay, you have the human nature of Christ, you have the divine nature of Christ. They're united and they're inseparable and they don't mix.
They're not united to each other.
They're not united to each other.
No, the human nature of Christ, because you're talking about secondary substances, right? The secondary substances of Christ are not united to each other, but they are united to the first substance, which we would call it to be the hypostasis or the suppositum. So when you keep saying, "Oh, is the divine nature not united to the human nature?" That's false. We don't believe that. When you read the Chalcedonian Creed, they state this. They say they're distinct and they're united to the person, not to the essence.
Yeah, okay, I get that, but I didn't make that claim that they're not. I didn't make the claim that they're identical to the essence. Like I
never said that. I never said.
Yeah, I never said that either. I
never said you said that. So you're not listening.
No, I am. You're just misrepresenting me. I understand that it's not to the essence because that'll fall into modalism. I understand that, but
modalism, what?
Wait, when you said
hold on.
Because you're assuming that I'm not making the distinction.
Modalism is only reference to the Trinity. We're talking about the hypostatic union, bro.
If
you're talking about monophysitism, then yes, that's what you're trying to impose, which isn't the case. And I don't take monophysitism because it's heresy. It's heretical.
Okay, no problem. But I understood. Just correct me one more time. I understood the hypostatic union as you have the two natures of Christ, which his person, which him being the Son of the Trinity, not his essence, the divine essence of him being God, but to his the personhood of him being the Son of the Godhead, right? If I'm wrong, correct me.
The secondary
Yeah,
substances are united to the first substance.
so, yeah, the secondary substance here being the Son, him being the Son, right?
What do you mean by him being the Son? What do you mean?
Like him
We're
being
talking about the Son.
him
We're
being the
talking about the
second
second
person
person.
of the Trinity. Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the second. Yeah, we're talking about the second person who gained another substantial nature.
Yeah. And when he gained this substantial nature, right? Can you show me how this him gaining this nature didn't entail a change? Please go ahead.
Because we understand that when we look at relation, right, we can understand that a change only results when something is newly predicated of a particular subject, right? But we can understand that when we look at Aquinas, especially, he talks about that they can be becomings which do not result in a change. And we can understand that this is an aspect which we predicate regarding to the hypostatic union, right? Because there's a relation, right? And we can understand relations can be predicated of a particular subject, which does not result in a change of the substance of that particular thing.
Can you go?
Can I give you an example?
Yeah,
For
give an
example,
example. Yeah.
so there's like two types of relations, right?
Yeah.
But when we talk about a hypostatic union, um, it involves mixed relations. So one of the relation would be like a real relation, which is order to a particular thing, which is extramental. So it's outside of the particular intellect. For example, when we look at a father and a son, there's a real relation between these two subjects, right? So the father would be the subject of the relation pertaining to the son, and the son would be the terminus. So this would be example of like a real relation. But this real relation itself would be like a new predicate, which is a predicate which is allocated to the particular subject of father, which would be an accident in this case, right? But we can
Yeah.
understand even though what is an accident or predicate which is being allocated to the father in this case, it doesn't mean the substance of that father changes, right? But then we understand there's a relational reason. So this relational reason would be an order to a particular thing which is cogitated by the mind itself, right? So it's only within the intellect. For example, me, G1 thinks of Hamza, right? So there's a relation between me and you, right? So being thought of would be like the basis of this particular relation. But there's no corresponding relation between you and me, meaning that there's no accident which is going to be predicated over you in this particular case. So when we look at when we look at the hypostatic union, we're just gonna say like there's a mixed there's a mixed relation. So there's like a relational reason pertaining to the word of God and his humanity in this case. And there's like a real relation pertaining to his humanity because his humanity is a subject of change. So change would not be predicated of the word, the divine person, but qua his humanity, because that's what's undergoing change in this case. Does that make sense? Michael Gorman talks about this in his
No
book
problem.
regarding to Aquinas' hypostatic union.
Yeah. I'm a read a little bit more into this.
Uh-huh.
This is just because the part where you said how his divine nature is it within space and time. Is that what you said right earlier? It's not within space and time.
Yeah.
That's new
I
to me.
don't
I can't
believe
lie.
you
I don't
believe.
want to.
You
Yeah.
said what?
I said that's new to me regarding the doctrine of the.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
I
no,
always
yeah, no.
I always understood when according to you, if Jesus was on Earth with his divine nature, that would have been classed as
Divine
the
nature
divine
would have
nature
been
being.
time, is what you're thinking, right?
Yes.
No, like, no.
No.
When we say like, okay, for example, when we look at passages in the Bible, when it says like Colossians chapter 2, verses 8 to 9, when it says like the full deity of Christ dwelt bodily within him, people may interpret that to be like like the essence is something which is physically located within Christ, which isn't the case. We can understand that the union between the divinity and the person would be a spiritual union in this case. So there's no like physicality which is being identified. So when we look at early Christians, and even when we look at the catechism at the I'm going to use the catechism. Even when you look at the catechism themselves, like it just talks about the essence of the divine being simple, and it isn't like subject to time, matter, or space. So yeah, early Christians and even me also believe in that the divine essence isn't like located within time or subjected to it.
Makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
Now, I need to read more into that because this is new. That part is new to me.
Nah, it's cool. Yeah, bro. Damn, he just disappeared. Damn.
Hey, yo, Abs, instantiate. Actually, join the VC, man.